Hey, what's going on guys? Welcome back to another video in a Node.js for Beginner series. And in this video, we will get started with Express framework. We will see some basic routings, middleware functions. We will also cover how we serve the static resources and Express app generator. I will also walk you through the Express project structure and files. So if you are a beginner and want to learn Express, then you can stick around, and also don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. So let's get started. Alright guys, so today's video is sponsored by Zego Cloud. Zego Cloud is a global communication service provider that enables the enterprises and developers to easily and quickly obtain real-time audio-video communication capabilities by integrating into a single SDK. And recently they have introduced the UI kit, which are the pre-built UI components to build the app faster. Now, as a developer, if you want to integrate live streaming feature into your project, then you can simply sign up to Zego Cloud and get 10,000 minutes free every month. So I already have an account, and once I log in, I will see a dashboard where if you want to integrate the live streaming to your project, then you can simply create a new project and use the configuration in the project to integrate the live streaming. And now if you click on the documents, you will see different Zego UI kits, and this one is the live streaming. So if I click on the live streaming, then we will see that how we can use this live streaming kit, which is a very rich live streaming component that will enable us to build a custom live streaming in our application. And you will find all the details related to the live streaming kit on this documentation. You will also see a quick start, which will give you how you can integrate it into your React Native project. So you can use the yarn command and you can add the feature into your project, or you can also use the npm. And here you will also find a sample code which will help you to integrate into your project. You can also check the GitHub link where you will find the sample project, and you can use this sample project for the reference and build a live streaming feature into your app. So I will add all the links in the description of the video so you can go and check it out, and I recommend to use it in your project. Alright guys, so before we jump into the Visual Studio Code and do some hands-on on the Express framework, I want to quickly walk you through some of the slides which I have prepared, where we will see what this Express framework is and what features it offers while doing the development of the Node.js application. So Express, it's a very popular Node.js web application framework, and it provides a robust set of features for building web applications and mobile applications. Express provides a thin layer of fundamental web application, and it's built on top of the Node.js features that we all know and we love it. So this makes Express a very performant. Now let's discuss about some of the features which Express offers. So Express is already built on top of the Node.js, so it saves a lot of time in development, and that results into a faster server-side application development. Next, Express also provides different middleware functions that have access to the request and the response object, and a next function in the application for a request response cycle. Let me give you a small example of the Express middleware. So in this slide, we will see that we have an Express, then we create an app with the help of Express, and then you have that app.get, you provide a route into it. And the other one is the middleware function. So this middleware function will have the arguments as request, the response, and a next callback, which is a middleware function. Now, once you have the request and the response, you can use the next so that you can go on to the next function which we want to execute. So this is a simple Express middleware function, and this middleware function also helps us to do the chaining of the routing. So you have one route which you redirect to the another one, and then you have the other one. Next we want to discuss about is the routing. So routing refers how our application's endpoint URI responds to the client request. Another one is the templating engine. So a template engine enables us to use the static template files in our application. So at runtime, these template engines replaces the variables in a template file with actual values and transform the template into an HTML file that we send to the client, and the client sees it on the browser. Express uses the debug module internally, so to log the information about the route matches, middleware functions that we use in the application mode, and the flow of the request response cycle. Now, since we have the basic knowledge about the features and the Express, so now let's go to the Visual Studio Code and let's see how we can install the Express in our Node application. So I'm using the same project which we have built in our previous Node.js crash course. So you will see that we have different branches. So we have the part 1, part 2, part 3, and now I'm creating a new branch which is the express get started. Now, if we want to install the express, let's go and check the package.json file. In the package.json file, we have main entry of the application, which is index.js. So we don't have the index.js at the moment, but we are going to create that. And then we have the name, version, description, and some test scripts. So what we are going to do is right now we don't have anything installed as a dependency in our Node application. So let's go to the terminal. So I'm going to open a new terminal, and in the new terminal, if we want to install the express, we can simply use the npm install express, and this is going to install express in our application. So now if we want to have the express as a dependency, we are going to use this npm install express. And if we want to install the express in the project temporarily, but we don't want it to be added in the dependency list, then in that case we can use the no-save. But for our project we need it as a express framework, and we want to add it in the dependency. So I'm going to hit enter, and this is going to install express in our application. So meanwhile, what we can do is we can create a file which will be the index.js. So I have the index.js, and we see that our express is also installed. So let's go to the package.json and verify. So here we will see that we have a dependency object now, and in that we have an express and the version of the express. Alright, so now our express is installed, and now what we will do is we are going to create a simplest express app using a single file, which is the index.js. And later we are going to see that if we want to have a full project of the express, then we will use the express generator to create a sample project. So what I will do here is that first let's import the express. So we will have the constant express. I'm going to have the require, and then we are going to have the express. All right, so we have the express, and now we are going to create an app using this express. So I will have the constant app, and that will have the express. We have created the app. Now we want to create our server. So I need to have a port where my server can listen. So let's add a port as I'm going to use the port as 3001. We can also use the port from the .env file. We can use with the help of the process core module, and for that we will also need the .env. So I have covered that part in my previous video. So if you have missed, then please go and check it out. I will also add the link in the description of the video. Now we have created this, and now what we want that our app should start and it should listen to the port 3001. So what I will do is I'm going to have the app listen, and then I will have the port, and there will be a callback here. So let's have a callback, and I'm going to write the console.log, and here I will have the example app listening on port. I will have the $port. All right, and I'm going to make this as a backtick so that I can use the template literal. Okay, now if we want to run this express app, what we can do is let's go to the package.json file, and inside the package.json file, what I will do is I'm going to add here start. All right, and then I will have the node index.js. I will save it. And now if we go and write the npm start, then it is going to start my application, and you will see that the example app listening on the port 3001. Either we can go to the browser. So let me go to the browser. All right, and I'm going to open it on a localhost 3001, and I will hit enter, and you will see that cannot get slash because we haven't set any route at the moment. So what we will do is let's set our first route. So I'm going to go to my index.js, and in the index.js, what I will do is I'm going to have the app.get method, and in this I'm going to pass my route. So if I have a slash, then in that case what I will do is I'm going to have the request and the response. All right, this will be an arrow function, and whenever I have this request response, what I want to do is I want to send my response as hello world. So let's have a hello world here. All right, I will save it, and I will go back to my browser. All right, and now if I refresh it, I still don't see anything, and that is because we have to restart our server. Now I'm going to cancel this, and if I want to restart my server every time whenever I make changes, so I'm going to install the nodemon so that it will help me for the development. So I will have the nodemon. I'm going to have the --save -dev because I want to install it as a dev dependency. So now if I go to the package JSON, I should have a dev dependency as nodemon. In the package JSON, I'm going to change this, and instead of this, I'm going to have the nodemon. All right, I will save it. And now let's have the npm start. Oops, npm start, and nodemon will start the application. Now let's go and let's check. So if I go to my browser again, then in that case, if I refresh it, then you will see that we have the hello world. And that is because now we have added a get http method and on the route as slash, so it will send the hello world. Now the other thing what we can do is, now if I want to send the response as a JSON, so in that case what I can do is I can just change this. I can have the JSON, and before the JSON I want to show you that if I go to the Thunder client and I make a request on the local host 3001, then we should see hello world. But you will see that this is a hello world and it's not in a JSON format. So what I can do is I will go here, we have the JSON, and then we can have a message here, and then we can have the hello world. I'll save it. All right. And now if I send the request, I will get a application JSON as the content format, and we will see that we have the hello world. And if we try to access any other route other than the slash, then it's going to give us 404 error. So we have the 404 and we have the error. So this is the default Express error handling. Now the next thing I want to show you is that how we can set up some basic routes in Express. All right, so now we have the get route, and what I will do is I will have this, and I'm going to change this to this is home page. All right, and then now we will set up some routes. So what I will do is, let's have some sample routes as users. So I'm going to have the users, and when I do app.get/users, then I need to get all the users. So here I'm going to have the message, and I'm going to have here get all the users. And now this is the get, and if we want to get an individual user, then in that case we are going to pass an ID. So I'm going to have the /ID, and in that case I'm going to have the get user with ID. And then what I will do is I'm going to change this to backticks, and then I can get the ID. So to get the ID, what I will do is I'm going to have the request.param.id. So this is also the Express feature it provides us if we want to get the ID from the request param. Now let's do the post. So if I want to set a post route, what I will do is I'm going to have the post here, and it will be post to the users. And in this case I'm going to have the create new user. Then if we want to use the put route, so if we want to update the user, then in that case we will have the put. So all these are, you have the app, then you provide the HTTP method, and then you provide the path on which the client should use the as an endpoint, and then you provide the handler. So for the put also I will need an ID, and then we are going to have a request response. I'm going to copy this and I will add it here. And now we will have the update user with ID. So let's have the update user with ID, and we will get the ID. And the last one is delete. So if I want to delete a user, then we can have the delete HTTP method, and then we are going to have the ID, and here we will simply have the delete user with ID. So we have set up some basic routes, and this is how you do the basic routing in Express. So now let's go and let's check. So what I will do is I'm going to go to my Thunder client, and here I will have the slash first. So I will send it, and we see that this is the home page. Now if I want to have the users and I'm going to send it, then you see that we get all the users. And now if I want to get an individual user with an ID 1, and let's send it, then you will see that we get a user with ID 1. We can simply have the put also. So if I send it, you will see that we have the update user with ID 1, and similarly for the delete. So if I send it, then we have delete user with ID 1. Now we will check for the post. So if I remove this and if I send it, then we will see that create a new user. So this is the basic routing. Now the next thing which I want to show you is how you can use the Express generator. So whenever you want to build a web application and you want to use the Express, then in that case we can have a full project of the Express with template engine and template views with the help of Express generator. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the index terminal, and in the index terminal what I will do is I'm going to change my directory. I'm going to have ls-ltr, and then what I will do is I'm going to go to my Express tudes. So I will have the cd express dude, and let's clear it. Now here what I have to do is I want to create an Express project with the help of Express generator. So I'm assuming that you are using the Node version higher than 8, where we already have the npx, which is the task runner. So what I will do is I will check my Node version. So let's go and let's check the Node version. Oops, it should be Node version. So I'm using the node as 16.13. So what I will do is I'm going to use the npx express generator, and then I will provide the name of my app. So this will be my Express app. All right, I'm going to hit enter, and now this is going to scaffold all the files and the project structure which you will see. So you will see that it created a lot of files and a complete project for me. Now what we need to do is we need to do the cd express app. So let's go to the Express app. So I'm going to do ls, and we have the Express app. So let's go to the Express app. All right, so now what we will do is, before I do the npm install, I want to open the Express project which we have created in my Visual Studio Code. So what I will do is I'm going to go here. I will have a new window. Then I'm going to click on open. Then I will just traverse to my project. So I will have the codes, Express tools, and Express app, and I will open it. And I'm going to close all this. And I want to only show you the package.json file. So now in the package.json file, when we use the Express generator and create the Express project, we already have few dependencies like cookie parser, debug, Express, HTTP errors, Jade, and Morgan. So we are going to go through the complete project structure, what we have, what all files are created, and what's the use of those. So now what we need to do is we need to install the dependencies. So what I will do is I'm going to have the npm install, and this is going to install all the dependencies, and it's going to create the node modules folder with these dependencies. All right, so we have the node modules folder. So that means all the dependencies are already installed. Now let's go to each of the folder one by one and understand what it is. So first one is the bin folder, and inside the bin folder, we have a file with www, and it is a simple file where we create a HTTP server, and with this server, we also define the port. So this is a simple HTTP server we have, and we provide the app which we have created with the help of Express. So if we go to the app.js, and in the app.js, you will see that we have the app. We created the app with the help of Express, and then we just export it. So we have exported the app. Now this app is imported in www file, and then here we have the HTTP server, and we give the app as an argument. Then we have the server, we created the port, and we listen the server to that particular port. So that's what it has created. Now you can also create this as a part of your app.js, but since we have used the Express generator, it wants to keep them as a separate. So that's why we have it www. Next we have the public folder. So this public folder will contain all your static files like images, JavaScript, style sheets. So this is the public folder. Then we have the routes. So with Express, it creates a separate folder for the routes. So here you will see that we have two routes files, which is the index.js, and other one is the users. And here you also get the express.router, which is help you to create the routes. So we are going to go to this later on. Then we have the views. So these views are actually Jade templates. It's now also known as the Pug. So now it is the templating engine, and this is how you write the Jade templates. So this is something that all the views which you see in your browser will have the .jade files. And here you have the index.js. In the index.js, you're going to have an h1 tag and a paragraph tag, and there will be some values with the title. And these values you can get it from the request which you created. Now next is the app.js and then package.json. So we have already gone through the package.json, and let's go to the app.js. Now in the app.js, you will see a lot of stuff, but this one, the HTTP errors, is used to create the HTTP errors. So it's a package which will help you to create the HTTP errors. And the sample, if you want to see, is like something like this, that if I want to create a 404 error, then you can simply use the create error instance, and then you can pass the error code here. So this is what you use the HTTP errors. Then you have the Express, which we already covered. You have a path, which is a core node module. Then you have a cookie parser, which we are not going to use for now. Then we have the Morgan, which is a logger, and it is going to log all the requests which we fire. Then we have the different files for the routes. So we have two files. One is the index and the user, and those two are having a different routes for the index and the users. Then we create an app with an express. Then we set the view engine setup. So we are having a view engine as Jade, because this can be different thing. It can be handlebars, it can be mustache. So depending on what view engine you are using. So we are using Jade. Then there is a code which you will see like app.use. So these all are middlewares, and these some are the internal middleware, some are the custom middlewares. So we are going to cover the middlewares in our next video. So for now, you don't have to worry about what this app.use is. So all these are middlewares. So you will see that we have a middleware, and as we saw in the slide, we have a middleware function which has a request, response, and a next. And the next will have the whatever the next handler you want to provide to it. Then we have an error handler middleware. So this is also an error handler middleware where you have an error object, and then you have a request response object with a next. So now if we want to run this application, how we can run it. So what I will do is debug equals to express app colon asterisk, and I will have the npm start. Oops, it should be npm start. So you will find this, oops, I made a mistake. So it should be debug equals to, so this will be debug equals to, and I will hit enter. Now we see that we have the express server started and it's listening to port 3000. Now if we go to the browser and let's see what happens. So if I'm going to go to the browser, and now instead of the 3001, I'm going to have the 3000, and you will see that we have the express and it shows welcome to the express. So now let's see what this express and welcome to the express are coming from. So if we go back, and in this what we will see is if we go here, then we have two routes. So whenever we have a slash, index router is activated. So if we go to the index router, we will have to go to the route slash index. So if we go to the route slash index, and here you will see that whenever a user is requesting to a route with a slash, we are going to get a middleware function. And this middleware function will have the request, response, and then next. And then whenever we have the request, we send a response, and in the response we have to render the index view. So this is my index view, and I'm passing the value as title and the express, and this value will go here as title and express. So here what we can do is we can make a change. So I'm going to make a change as express tutorial, and then I'm going to also pass a value as message. Let's go to the index, and we have the welcome to. So I'm going to make it as welcome to express beginner friendly tutorial. I will save it. All right, now we are passing the title and the message. And now if we go to the index Jade, then here what we can have the title, but I can make change here and I can have the message here. All right, I will save it. And now we want to restart our server since we are not using the node mon. So what I will do is I'm going to restart my server. Now let's go and let's check. So I'm going to go to my browser. All right, and then I'm going to refresh. And as soon as I refresh, you will see that we have the express tutorial and welcome to the express beginner friendly tutorial. So this way you can actually send a view, and instead of sending a JSON, because you are not creating the API, you are actually creating a web application. So you can send different views to the client, and the client can view them on the browser. All right, and now we also have the users route. So if I go and have the slash users, then we have a respond with a resource. So we can make a change here. So I will go back to the Visual Studio Code, and in the Visual Studio Code, if we go to the users, then in that case we just have the res.send and we send it. If I want to render a new view, then what I can do is I'm going to create a new view here, and I can have the user.jade, and then we can just copy this. All right, and then I can go to the Jade, and then I can add it here, and you will notice here that we have the extends layout, and that is because this layout, because every page which is rendered on the browser is an HTML page, but you will see that there is no HTML tags here. So we have a layout, and in the layout we have specified the doc type, HTML, head, title, link, body, and then we have the block content. And now we just write this block content, and in this block content we have an h1 tag and we have a paragraph tag. And here what we can do is instead of the title we can make the users. All right, and then here I can have the user, let's have the users. All right, and then we can pass the users. So if we go to the users, and then here what we can do is we can have the render, and here what we will do is we are going to change, and we need a view here. So I'm going to save it. Oops, I made a mistake, so I'm going to first delete this. All right, and then we have the users, and inside the users I'm going to copy this. And then what we need to do is we need to send the response.render. So I'm going to copy this and I'm going to come here and I'm going to add it here, and we can just simply change this view. So my view will be a user, and then we can pass the title as this is users page, and we can have the message is users listed. I will save it, and then we can go to the user.jade, and then we can simply have the title. So I'm going to copy this, then we are going to have the title, and here I'm going to have the message. And let's go and let's quickly check. So what I will do is I'm going to go to my browser. All right, and now in the browser, if I refresh it, then we should be able to see, but we don't see anything. But for that, what we have to do is we need to restart the server. So let's restart the server. All right, now we have restarted the server. So now let's go and let's check. So if I go and refresh it, then we see the user pages, and in this way we can create different views for different routes and can build a full-fledged web application. So we are going to build it in one of our video later on, but for today it's just the introduction of the express generator and the project which we get. Now let's go to the Visual Studio Code and let's understand the project more. Now if we want to serve the static files, so if I go to the app.js, and in the app.js, you will see that how we serve the static files in the Express application. And here you will see that we have the express.static, and this is a built-in middleware function in Express. So we will also see in the next video that what are middlewares and what are the different kinds of middleware. Some are custom middleware, some are built-in middlewares, and how we can write them. So this is an built-in middleware, and here you provide the path of your dir name. So this will be the root, and then from the root you will see that you need to have a public directory, and once you have this, then you will be able to serve the static files. So if I want to access the static files, like I want to access the style sheet, so what I can do is if I go to my browser, and in the browser what I will do is I can have the style sheet / style.css, and you will see that we get this style sheet. Now if you want to make a change, suppose let's say you want to make a change in your virtual route, then you can also do that. So if we want to do that, what we will do is I'm going to go here. All right, and here what I will do is I'm going to add the /static. So let me add the /static, and then we can pass this. All right, I will save it. And now if we want to access the static files, then in that case what we to do is we need to have the /static, because we have added a virtual path. All right, and if we want to see this, then let's restart our server. So I'm going to restart our server, and now we can go to the browser and check. So if I go to the browser and if I refresh it, then you will see that we don't find any path on this route. Now, because now we have added the middleware to access the static files, but the path is we have added a virtual path which is a static, and now you will see that we get the static files. So this is how you can serve the static files in Express app. And now next thing what I want to show you is that let's go to the Visual Studio Code, and here you will see that this is a logger, and we have the logger dev. So Morgan usually provides a different kind of parameters. Here we can also have the combined, or we can have the tiny. So you can read it on the documentation of the Morgan package. So I'm going to change this to combined, and before it was dev, and for that you were seeing that you have a get static. So all these routes which you are trying to access, you will see them as a logged here. So I'm going to save it, and I will change this. So let's restart the server. We have the restart of the server, and now if we fire any request, so let's go to the Thunder client. I'm going to create a new request. I will have this as local host 3000, and I'm going to have the /users, and I'm going to hit enter. Then you're going to see that we get a HTML page back. And whenever we get an HTML page back, you will see that the complete request to which we have added, and it gives more information, like we are using a Thunder client, and instead of Thunder client, if I use a browser, then you will see that we are getting different information. So if I go back here, and here what I will do is I'm going to have the users, and I hit enter. And now if we go to the Visual Studio Code, and you will see that what is the logs we have. So here you will see that the route was accessed via Apple WebKit, and it was a Chrome browser, and a lot more information. So this is what this Morgan package is. So I can change back to dev. All right, so that's all I have in this first video. It's a basic introduction of the Express and the Express generator, and I have also walked you through the complete Express project which we get with the Express generator, and then how we can use the static routes, basic routing, and all the basic stuff. In the coming video, we are going to explore more on the routing in the Express, and also the middlewares. What are different kind of middlewares that are available in the Express that we can use while building our project. So I hope you like the video. A thumbs up is appreciated. You can also connect with me via Facebook or Instagram. You can follow me on Twitter for latest updates. And before you go, don't forget to subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you don't miss the videos like this one. Thank you. Thanks for watching.